Now you can sit there with a pair of tongs. You can go like this, right?
But you're gonna use your gloves.
The best tool in the kitchen is these things you have attached to your wrists. What they call your hands. Get them in there. What we're gonna do a carrot and pineapple salad. So what we're gonna do here is take some carrot, jicama, red cabbage, blueberries, pineapple. We're gonna combine it all together with lime, basil, mint, and it just has a really nice strong combination together. So this is a standard peeler we're using here. Whenever I peel anything, I'm gonna just put a towel down or a paper towel down. This way I just catch the peels, especially if you're doing more than just one carrot or one cucumber. We'll get this peeled up and we'll get it to julienne it with this little julienne tool that I have here. Now this tool here has little teeth on there, so when as you're doing the motion, as if you're peeling it, it'll just rip off these little strips of carrot here. We'll peel this here. If you want to use pre-shredded carrot, you certainly can, but you're going to notice that the edges of the carrot will dry, or it'll never be as crispy and fresh as something you just did yourself. Cut the ends off here like this. Cut the other end off as well. And I like to hold it from the more narrow side, that way you get more off of the side anyway. And just start kind of just pulling at it, holding it kind of like this, and just pulling at it like that there. And try to get off as much as from one side as you can. Using this for, you know, maybe a sushi roll or maybe a stir fry, a salad like we're doing here today. Have at it, Corey. Some people have struggled with it because you have to dig a little deep into it to get the carrot actually out of there. So you're good. If you find that it's not coming out, sometimes it gets kind of clogged up into the teeth there as well. So what I'm gonna do here now is line these up here as best as possible, just to break these down into smaller lengths here. Line them up like this here. I'm all trying to go one way. Yeah, and then just basically take this knife here. We're just gonna run them down to about, you know, about an inch or so. Yeah, that's it. It doesn't have to be perfect. If you have a couple of longer pieces, you can always run it again. But you just want them to be more bite-sized, that's it. We'll do a little bit of red cabbage here as well. When I'm doing the red cabbage, I'm just gonna cut the core out. Go ahead and move that one leaf from the outside. Basically what you do is just kind of get as flat as the surface as you can get and work with. And just again with your knuckle like this, using your knuckle as that guide for getting that real thin pieces of red cabbage. I think that's probably enough red cabbage to put into there. We can also, all right, maybe a little bit more. All right, so we're gonna put some jicama in here next. I'm just gonna cut to where I have two flat surfaces, so it doesn't have to matter from the top or bottom or the sides. I like to go from the sides because you see it's taller like this as opposed to going from here. It's kind of harder, kind of wrap it around, so just cut the top and the bottom. And again, if you can't find jicama, just use radishes or apple, or Granny Smith apple will be a good suitable replacement. Usually they send most produce that are that large to the hotel and restaurant industry as opposed to a retail grocery store, but they can get that big. So I'm cutting them very thin like this here. And then what I'm gonna do is stack them as best as possible. I'll show you one of them and then I'll let you do the other one. So we're doing this here, right? Not pulling the knife like this, because you're going to hear all day slicing things up. I'm just pulling the knife like this. So tip of the knife down and rock it forward like this here. And you have a much more of effective rhythm and motion where you're getting this chopped up much easier here like this here. Here, start from this side here, because you're right-handed.
Oh, right, okay, good.
There you go. Try to show you try to rock the knife a little bit more like that, right? All you're doing is you're just going down, right? But try to push forward a little bit. You don't have to push forward a lot, right? But just a little bit, right? Just get a little forward motion like that as you're going down.
Okay.
Perfect. And I just make sure that you heel the knife, pushes through all the way. You cut through that pepper or whatever it is you're cutting, all the way through. All right, so we have the jicama going in here next.
Can you eat that raw?
Absolutely, yeah, that's intended for you raw.
Okay.
So these blueberries are not Maine wild blueberries by any means, right? These are pretty big jumbo blueberries. So if you have the little small petite ones, just throw them in there, right? If I'm using these big jumbo ones or larger ones, I would say cutting them in half would be a better idea. I'm going to bring them closer to the edge of the countertop here. Try not to drop any, which we have lost one of them. I'm going to not do this, right? Right,
I
I'll be
was
here all
gonna
day.
say that's
I'm going to do it like this here. I'm going to push down, and I'm going to fillet them in half here.
Oh, wow.
impressive, actually.
With grape tomatoes, with grapes, with blueberries. We smashed one. This will work. I mean, obviously,
You do it with grape tomatoes?
with grape tomatoes is what we do. Yeah, when you see the grape tomatoes that we use
Yeah.
in the morning or in the afternoon from the salad bar, we're not back there cutting them one by one. They're all just cut in half real quick.
Neat. I'll try that.
And if you feel like, hey, I might cut myself and I don't want to make chef salad, I would just put a plate down. Let's go ahead and we'll chop up this fresh pineapple here. So when I'm cutting the skin off, I'm going to curve the knife out to this part, curve it back in. Just go deep enough to remove the skin and then remove the brown eyes, but don't go so deep to where you don't have any pineapple left at the end. So if you want to use, some people might just say, oh, canned pineapple tidbits, right? Wouldn't that be easier? Again, not really, because the but sugar is gonna be very, very high. Plus the quality won't be very good either. So always fresh is the best. Now, some people, when they cut a pineapple, most people when they cut a pineapple, they're gonna cut this in half, cut this into quarters, and remove that eye of the core out, right? And I'm not gonna do that way today. I will demonstrate that in a moment. What I'm going to do here is show you that if I cut it into quarters, it's going to be harder for me to get these small little dices which I'm trying to achieve. I'm looking to get these small dices of pineapple, and I can do that by cutting 3 or 4 thin slices, stacking them like this here, cutting in little strips like this here, and then going in, turning them, and then dicing them, right? Again, tip of the knife down, rock it forward, and try to get them the same size as like the blueberries or something, just a small little petite dice to this pineapple here.
That's good.
Now, imagine this was still a whole pineapple, I would then cut it in half, right? Imagine this was just half of a pineapple. You can see all that right there, all that center, the core. To remove that core, you go cut it in half again, cutting it essentially into quarters on an angle, it comes out. So we have almost everything in the bowl. We still need to add a few more things. Some more of the flavoring, the aromatics. We're going to use lime zest, lime juice. We're also going to balance that out by adding a little bit of concentrated apple juice into there. What we'll do here is take a pair of tongs, microplane tool. And as I'm doing this, I'm holding it like this. Some people like to do it like this, right?
Yeah.
You're going to hold it, right?
Yeah.
Hold it like this. And I'm rotating it. And now I don't want to zest that part again. I want to go to a different section. And then go to a different section. And then you can put this into so many different things.
Smells good.
And that zest has a tremendous amount of flavor to that, right? I mean, it has no acidity, has no calories, it just has a lot of flavor. We're going to take this lime, we're going to take about 3 or 4 of these, we'll cut these in half. And if you want to sit there, juice them by hand, you'll be here all day, right? Take a pair of tongs, get a little leverage on them, put this in a pair of tongs and squeeze that right out. Simple as that. So this is a lot of acidity going in here with all this lime juice, which is why we're going to use the concentrated apple juice to balance out that acid flavor.
Smells good.
We need a little bit of the apple juice concentrate. I think that this is the one here. Making sure it wasn't vinegar. I don't want to put more acid into here. All right, so we have the apple juice going into there. We need some black pepper in here. Cracked black pepper adds a nice little bite to this all. So we take some fresh basil here. Fresh mint, fresh basil, great combination together. Bunching this in a tight ball like this here. Pressing it down like this to where it's all kind of compacted together. And then taking the knife and pushing forward to where you're almost like julienning it, where this is technically called chiffonading the herb, where you're cutting it into thin little ribbons like this. But now it's basically halfway chopped up. And the more you run the knife through the herb, where you're not actually cutting through the herb, you're kind of just bruising the top, it just turns it like black, So you want to try to get it chopped up with as less cut throughs as possible, and with a very sharp knife, because your knife isn't very sharp, it will just dull the, it will just kind of bruise the herb as opposed to actually cutting through the herb. So chop it up real fine so you don't get these big ribbons of herbs in there where you don't get a consistent flavor. Piece out. Now you can sit there with a pair of tongs. You can go like this, right?
But you're going to use your gloves.
The best tool in the kitchen is these things you have attached to your wrists. They're called your hands. Get them in there. I could have probably grabbed a bigger bowl to make this a little bit easier, but it'll still work. And this is the salad in a nutshell. It's a very flavorful, colorful salad You can go ahead, like I said, have it just by itself, sitting in the refrigerator for about 2 days or so max would be great, and just kind of munch on it as you felt like it, and or have it as a whole entree salad. Serve this up with like a creamy dressing if you wanted to, or just the dressing that it has on there. There's so many kind of different ways you can kind of finish this up. Hopefully it doesn't disappoint you.
I'm liking cauliflower bites for sure.
Great.
Oh, it's really cool. Thanks for coming in, folks. Hope you enjoyed it.
Thank
It
you.
was delicious. A little bit more.
I'm gonna have another one of these.